Okay, y'all. Dabo Swinney. I'm repping the Tigers because on Friday, January 23rd, he had a press conference. He had time, he had receipts, and he made a pretty compelling case for Ole Miss tampering with Luke Ferrelli, who had entered the transfer portal when he was over at Cal and had decided to exit the transfer portal as a Clemson Tiger. So let's recap some of the facts. So Luke Ferrelli was the 2025 ACC Freshman of the Year. He was a linebacker. He entered the portal. He visited at least two schools, Ole Miss and Clemson. According to Dabo Swinney, having conversations with his dad indicated that they did not have a good experience at Ole Miss. As it turns out, they had a good experience at Clemson. Luke Ferrelli decides he wants to be a Clemson Tiger. On January 7th, he entered into the financial aid paperwork for Clemson. He exited the transfer portal. He was a Clemson Tiger. He moved to Clemson on January 11th. He started classes because classes had started on January 7th. He is attending classes as a Clemson Tiger. He is training as a Clemson Tiger. He is going to team meetings as a Clemson Tiger. He's going to position meetings as a Clemson Tiger. Did I mention that he was attending classes as a Clemson Tiger? Okay, so he is getting all settled in, and his agent, Ryan Williams, sniffs that Ole Miss is not done with him yet. And so though he is already committed and signed to Clemson, Ole Miss is still messing with him. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Clemson reaches out to the GM at Ole Miss, who is Austin Thomas. Is like, hey, I'm going to need you to have your guy pull up. Luke Ferrelli is ours. We have gotten him under a scholarship opportunity. He is ours. Austin Thomas indicates after multiple back and forths that essentially Pete Goulding is unmanageable and he's going to do what he wants to do. So Clemson is having conversations with the agent, Ryan Williams, the GM at Ole Miss. They're having conversations with the ACC. They're having conversations with the SEC commissioner. And of course, they're having conversations with Luke Ferrelli, who assures them until the last possible moment that none of this was bothering him. He was going to continue to be a Tiger. Well, then, as it turns out, Pete Goulding decides he's going to send a text message to Luke Ferrelli while he is in class. And that text message says, hey, I know you are signed. What is your buyout? Then he proceeds to text him a copy of an agreement that appears to be for a $1 million NIL package, and later ups the ante and says, we will make that deal for you for 2 years. So $1 million this year and $1 million next year. They went so far as to schedule Zoom calls. Jay Chowdhury, who is Ole Miss's assistant director of player personnel, was setting up Zoom calls with Luke to discuss the potential NIL offer. And then one day, Luke decided that he was going to walk into compliance and say, hey, I want to enter the transfer portal. And so now he's at Ole Miss. Okay. And so Dabo lays all this story out beautifully with facts, times, details, who called who talked to who interacted with who across the whole ecosystem of this story. It appears, if you listen to Dabo Swinney and believe him, that this is classic, blatant tampering. And all the while, Ole Miss is having its own set of battles trying to fight off Shady Lane Kiffin from stealing Ole Miss players to come to LSU. Because somehow those Ole Miss NIL contracts are being leaked. So Shady Lane's over there doing his thing, and Peter's over here, I guess he decides he's going to engage in a little shadiness himself and try to poach Luke Ferrelli. So, are there any consequences for violating the rules? That is what Dabo Swinney is asking, because he and Clemson have turned over all of their documentation to the NCAA. It's like, hey, NCAA, you need to go ahead and investigate this. And Dabo says, this doesn't need to take 3 months or 3 years. This needs to take 3 days because I've served a whole set of facts up to you on a platter. They are easily verifiable. And the only thing that that Ole Miss can do is lie. if they're trying to refute any of these claims. You can get those text messages pulled and you can confirm that everything I've said is true. So the NCAA has an opportunity now to assert itself and assert its rules and prove that they have some legitimacy and relevance in today's reality around college football. Two major things plaguing NCAA right now: eligibility and tampering. They, for the most part, looked the other way when it came to tampering. And it is apparently because no one is willing to actually say, hey, they tampered. Well, now they got one. Because Pete Goulding didn't know that he shouldn't have come for Dabo Swinney. He should have known, but he didn't know. So here we are. NCAA has an opportunity to do something real in this case. Now, you may say, well, why are we going to punish Ole Miss when everybody is doing it? My answer to that is, if no one is willing to say out loud that this is being done to them, then no one can say, why are you not doing something about this? Ole Miss has now been accused out loud with facts, details, and receipts of engaging in tampering. And so we will see what the NCAA does. Now, just to refresh our recollection. Now, I've made no statement about NIL and contracts because that would be a dispute between Clemson and Luke Ferrelli. And Clemson is making no claims about anything about an NIL relationship and a direct dispute with Luke Ferrelli. That's not what they're alleging here. They're saying that NCAA bylaw 13.1.1.4, which says no contact is permissible unless student athlete is in the transfer process, that bylaw has been violated. And that is tampering, especially the way that they described it here, due to sending the student athlete text messages while he's in class. Okay. So this is either a level 1 or a level 2 violation of the rule. And just to also further refresh your recollection, the penalty associated with a level 1 or level 2 fine, penalty could be fines, suspensions, recruiting restrictions, scholarship reductions, or in the most egregious cases, loss of postseason play. And so here are my thoughts. How did we get to win at all costs? There is no thing that is too low to do if it results in us winning. Because that's what this behavior feels like. What is the price of win at all costs? Well, right now, y'all like to call it the Wild Wild West. I call it anarchy and chaos in college football and to some degree, college basketball as well. Anarchy and chaos. Keep in mind that the institutions and the coaches they employ are the NCAA. The NCAA does not exist without member institutions, and the member institutions make the rules, set the rules, and should abide by the rules. And so how have we found ourselves in a situation where neither the coaches nor the institutions even care about the rules? Just openly flouting, disregarding the rules, and daring the NCAA to do something. How did we get here? Now, clearly the NCAA bears some of the blame for the situation it finds itself in. But if the member institutions are now just flat out giving the NCAA the finger, the whole institution is at risk. It simply is not sustainable if the people that make up the institution don't give a flying crap about the institution and its rules. Now, I've always said that the system is not built for the athlete. Athletes, some of them are making some money here. All of them are not. And the 35% of them who entered the portal that have not exited, they sit in the ether, sitting over there on mama's couch. They played fast and loose with rules that were not made for them. And so they can pay for college on their own dime because they can't walk on, because that's pretty much gone. Unless they can go down market and find somebody to take them. Okay? And for those who are making money, it is my hope that they have wealth now and wealth in the future. But I'm concerned that they have wealth now and when this thing is all over, because most of them will not get drafted. that they have spent well now, saved well now, invested well now, so they have something for later. My final thought is, if the coaches don't care about the system, it's a wrap. These are the rules that the coaches wanted. Okay. They had a strong hand in making the rules. And now they're just like, yeah, whatever. The rules don't apply. I'm just not following them. I think that's a bad place for the entire institution to be. But Dabo had time. And Pete Goulding came for the wrong guy. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think.